ever since I was a kid, I don't like crowds. I don't do well around crowds. I get very, very anxious, very nervous.
So you would like to feel safe, comfortable, and calm when you are in crowded places surrounded by many people. Hi everyone, I'm very excited because I'm here with Olivia again and I'm so curious what she will tell me. And I hope everyone who is watching this video can get out a lot of insights and helpful tips and tools. And now, Olivia, my time is all for you. Thank you for being here with me again. How are you?
Oh, I am well, Monica. I am just excited to be here again. So thank you for having me once more. And yeah, I'm excited to see what else this session will bring. I have lost count as to how many sessions we've had, but I have to say, my life has completely transformed. And, you know, sometimes I think people feel like, oh, I just need one session, two sessions. But honestly, it's however many sessions have to come up, right? For us to be able to feel really grounded and happy. And so I feel I'm there. Yes. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, as I said before when we talked off camera, I could already see how radiant you are, how you're glowing, which, yeah, I'm bursting out of curiosity what you will tell me. And you're right. I mean, having 1, 2 coaching sessions is nice, but the work we do, it just never ends. And it's not bad news. It's actually something really good. Like the metaphor from an onion, you just put one layer and the other layer apart, and then something new will come up. But this is growth and this is life. We never stop growing. And like we all benefit from someone who is going this journey of growth with us. And everyone, also every coach, I would be a bad coach if I would not have a coach myself, because we cannot see what someone outside sees. We are within the programs and we don't see, as the fish we are, the water around us, but someone else can see it. So yeah. And again, yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. And so I'm very curious, as I said, to hear what has happened.
Oh, so much has happened, let me tell you. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, doctors also need doctors, right? So what you said is so on point. I think sometimes we think that, you know, life is good and I'm okay. And even in, and I think we discussed this before you started recording, and I think I shared with you that, you know, I had my low moments and there were some really low moments, but I used the tools that you so like coached me on, and the tools were able to ground me. And everything that you've actually shared in all of our sessions have really assisted me in like kind of boosting me up. So I feel great. I noticed that people around me have noticed a change in me as well. And they're like, what's going on? What's happening? And I said, yeah, well, I've been having coaching sessions with Monica. You should try it. So what I'd like to share with you is just the amazing productivity and level of confidence that really gained after our sessions. I've noticed that my projects are moving along. Now, I know that I had shared with you I was going to post some YouTube stuff, and I do have YouTube material, but so I've kind of held back a little bit on that. But I am going to do it. It's simply because I'm trying to add a little bit of myself into these videos, because these are videos where I use other people's like footage, so it's stock footage. And I figured, I think people might want to see me in front of the camera or at least hear my voice. So I'm working on that. Um, so I think for this session, as I shared with you, I was at a conference this past weekend, and my friend and I were pretty similar, but I don't know if this is everyone, but we both started feeling uncomfortable. And I've noticed this about myself ever since I was a kid. I don't like crowds. I don't do well around crowds. I get very, very anxious, very nervous. I know that I am an empath. I have a level of sensitivity, but I would like to be able to, at least feel comfortable. Um, so I use the tools when I was there, and I was able to stay there longer than I would normally. But I would also want to feel like I can just move around and feel just comfortable and confident and at ease around people and not feel so like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it. I need to leave because I'm just getting very nervous, very like uncomfortable. So yeah, that's something that I would like to work on today, if possible.
Okay, yes, of course. So, what I hear you say is that you had a very protective and very motivated state altogether. And although there were low moments, you could use the anchor where you could recall the beautiful feeling of confidence and productivity and motivation. And so, what you want to work on today is like you have observed it recently being on a conference that you're very uncomfortable in being in a crowded place surrounded by a lot of people. Of course we can work on that. I would love to. I'm happy to. And you asked a question like maybe it's everyone who is uncomfortable in crowded places. And what I've observed, I don't think so. There are people who are way more confident and comfortable in crowds or being surrounded by people, and there are people who even love it, who feel more comfortable being surrounded by a lot of people or in the midst of a crowd than being alone. And so, if you don't mind me sharing a personal story from me, it's
I love it.
so I am more in your side of the spectrum. Like since I was a teenager, even smaller, as a kid, it started that I felt really uncomfortable in being in crowded places, and I avoided it with whatever I could to be there. I worked on that a lot. And as an adult, I could find out two reasons. And the one is that I'm, like you mentioned, also very empathetic. What means being very empathetic means that we feel the emotions, the energy from everyone around us more than people who are not that empathetic. And alone this is an explanation where, I mean, this can be overwhelming. When we are together with two other people, well, we can manage that. But if it's then 300, well, that's a lot to deal with 300 energies and different and things is going on. So that's one thing. But this being said, it doesn't mean like because you're an empath, you will never feel comfortable in crowds, because I do. I worked so much on myself that I now do. But the other part, which I also observed, and let's see if this is also in your case. So the one part is that I'm an empath, and the other one is that something happened, a wound happened when I was a child in front of a group. I was speaking up in class and everyone was laughing at me, and the teacher said something which made me feel very embarrassed and stupid. And this I internalized, like everything we do as a kid. So I couldn't logically think about that. Well, the teacher has a bad day, and by the way, she is not really a good person to be around with kids. And the other kids laughed because that's what they do. They always, this is
Yeah.
what kids do. So I
Yeah.
couldn't logically think about that. And what happened is, and I obviously didn't speak also, it bam, created a wound within me, went into my subconscious and told every cell in my body, like, it's very dangerous to be in crowded places because you will
Wow.
feel the pain. But also that I could work on. And now I'm still a person who is not naturally drawn to be in crowded places, but I'm totally comfortable and okay with crowded places now.
It's interesting. You bring that specific example because I did have exactly one of those moments. And what's interesting is during the RTT training, that actually did come up. But we were talking about confidence when we did the session in RTT. And that very same thing happened to me, Monica, where I got up and I was supposed to recite, and I did. I recited this poem and I decided to just really act it out and get into the character and the role. And I could feel a sense of like really embodying the character. And I was in my element, and all of a sudden, because I was so much in my element, it kind of shocked all of the kids who were watching as well as the teacher. And um and once I saw the shocking look on their faces, I can recall it vividly. In that moment, it was like a nanosecond. I just froze and I forgot my lines afterwards. And this is something that I knew like the back of my hand. But I finally I recovered and I finished it. And after I was done, the teacher was like, "Well, it was okay." And she deducted some points because I had forgotten my lines. And I went back to my seat, and I remember just shaking in that moment and thinking, "Wow, I don't think I'll ever do that again." But I thought that that scene was more maybe geared towards like not having confidence to speak up in public. And I think that that came up. So it's interesting as you were speaking though and sharing your story, I thought, wow, I had something very, very similar. But I'm still curious to know why I'm still feeling uncomfortable around crowds, because clearly, even after that session, and then this recent conference, I was still feeling very uncomfortable. Like I really wanted to just leave and get out. And thanks to the tool, though, that I had, I was able to stay a lot longer. And I would like to get to a place where it's not so uncomfortable, where I would leave, but I can leave on my own time, meaning, okay, I'm tired now, I can leave, not I want to leave because I'm just uncomfortable.
Yes, yes, I totally get that. And yeah, I mean, in the RTT sessions, in the hypnosis, when we go back to scenes, sometimes a scene causes like more traumas or more stories and programs than just one. But also, like you and I talking now with the conscious mind, we can guess this was the scene about that. And our subconscious know better. Maybe it was something totally different. Maybe it was even something where you didn't speak at all, or where we don't know. We don't know that. But there is a reason why you feel uncomfortable in a crowd. And so before we dive into that, I would love to really explore the feeling that you felt this time when you were in the crowd or in the crowded place,
Mhm.
and how it's usually. So what's the feeling exactly? You mentioned it a little bit, but let's go there a little bit deeper.
So the feeling is um, as if I just want to crawl out of my skin. Um, I want to bolt. I'm not claustrophobic, but if I were to imagine what being claustrophobic is like, that's what it would feel like. Like I can't really breathe properly. And my body has a tendency also of getting extremely like fatigued. As we were walking around, I noticed in crowds, I just feel like my energy level dips. And I don't know, my mind starts racing. Sometimes I probably am thinking now that I'm looking back on this recent experience. I I see that sometimes people are looking at me, and that makes me feel uncomfortable as well. Um, and I don't believe they're judging me. Many a times they're looking at me because of my glasses or because I'm wearing like an interesting outfit. So I do know that because people do compliment me. But there are times it just the sometimes the when they look, I get a little uneasy about that. Yeah.
Okay. So you feel in these crowded places like you want to crawl out of your skin. You feel closed in, like almost like locked in or trapped. Is that correct?
Yes.
And feels like you can't breathe. Then you feel a fatigue coming on, and your energy level drops.
Yeah.
Your mind is racing, but then also there is this aspect of people looking at you like, I mean, that happens at crowds. We look at these people look at us. That's how it works. But for some people it's more uncomfortable, and for some people it's more comfortable. um so before we go further there, two things, or one especially, which let my ears prick up a little bit, which is something I want to address before we go do this deeper work. And this is like your energy level drops
Mhm.
and your mind starts racing.
Mhm.
Now, knowing, because you mentioned that you are an empath, knowing in my being an empath myself, how it feels like if we are around with a lot of people, we feel the energy of all these people, and we feel sometimes their emotions and their feelings. And even going a step further, what I've observed, it feels even sometimes like we would think their thoughts. They would come
Mm.
some things in, and then suddenly like, and then this getting even more and stronger when we then notice that people are looking at us, because then we also get our energy out of ourselves but towards the other. So our energy goes out into the direction of, oh my god, what do they think about us, what do they think, oh my god, like every time when we focus, when we let our energy go out by focusing on what other people think about us, it is a loss of energy. That's how it is.
Mm. Mm.
And so
That makes
this, sorry, yeah.
I no, I was going to say to you that makes a complete sense. And as you were speaking, another incident. Well, I wouldn't say an incident, but I just recalled something where I was on a plane and I remember sitting and feeling so anxious. Now, I used to be a flight attendant, so flying, I'm not afraid of flying, but I have to say I was overwhelmed with fear. And I'm like, what is going on here? This is insane because I don't I'm not afraid of flying, but it I almost felt like and this is really weird, but I did almost feel like I need to tell the flight attendant I just need to get off this plane because I cannot be on this plane because for whatever reason all of a sudden I started to sweat profusely, my heart started to race, and I was feeling so uncomfortable. And at that time, this is before we had our sessions, and I got this wonderful tool. I would just go into breath work, and I would start to breathe it through, and I was able to like remove it. But yeah, so as you were speaking, yeah, I completely like started thinking back at other instances when this would happen to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is not something where we say, okay, yeah, I mean, we label ourselves as empath or over empathetic people, and that's it, we have to live with it. No. If we know that, that just helps us to understand how we can manage it better instead of like thinking like, okay, that's it, we have to live with that. And what I've observed on myself and also with other people, what helps in these cases, like I'm just again only talking about this taking on other energy, emotions, feelings, and thoughts, like you would so beautifully describe, like suddenly you felt fear, which obviously you don't have a fear of lying, but there was a fear, like getting on this fear. And you will notice also when some things happen, like in the world, like recently also a lot of things, like it, we feel the fear, we feel the fear of that is around, and it doesn't have to be necessarily our fear, but it's the
Mhm.
fear we feel around. And being an empath is also something really good, especially when we work in the field of helping other people to heal themselves. It's something necessary. Being an empath also needs that we are very in tune with our intuition and we can use it. So that's something good. But now let's talk about how can we be comfortable in a crowd being an empath. And what I've observed is like just being aware of, okay, I feel fear, like in your case at the plane, but I know that's not my fear. It's fear. It's an emotion or a feeling that it's now there, but a feeling and emotion, it's the same like a thought. We can go on this train and go with it, or we just watch it going by. And I know this is so easily said and so hard to do, but it
Yeah.
needs practice.
Yes.
And when we know that, this is what helped me so much when I understood, okay, well, I'm an empath, meaning I feel so many other feelings, meaning I don't have to take it as serious because it's not
Mm.
mine, just waiting. So this is one thing. And the other thing also, I often visualize when before I go into crowded places, I really, and everyone can come up with their own tools or things, but I really visualize like I would be surrounded in a protecting bubble. It's like a bubble, and this only lets in the energies that are good for me and keeps out all the others. And the other way around also, my energy comes only out in that amount which is good for me.
Mm.
So this
Wow.
is something. And what I would invite you to is like really playing around with that when you're not in a crowd, like going into a meditative state and then visualizing something that protects you
Mhm.
from this drain of energy, like being drained and the loss of energy, and also from the energy that come in that are not yours and they are not good for you or too much.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then let's see where it goes. So this was just part one, addressing the mind racing a little bit and mostly the energy drop, which is
Yes.
so usual and normal.
Wow. I thank you for those two examples that you gave. I love the whole bubble thing around. If I heard you correctly, also, which I love, which I've never heard before, is also it will keep my energy in where my energy is not being scattered as well. And more than likely, this will also assist with the mind racing if my mind is racing. So yeah, thank you for saying that. That. that really resonated. I can play with that, yes.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah, and I'm curious what you will share. But now, this was before. We now, if you don't mind, if you're okay with that, we can now go deep on this feeling of discomfort, of feeling like trapped and closed in when you're in crowded places, where you want to just get out.
Yes.
What do you want to feel instead?
I would like to feel safe. I would like to feel comfortable, definitely. Calm.
So you would like to feel safe, comfortable, and calm when you are in crowded places surrounded by many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then
Mm.
let's work on that. And what comes to me now is, and you always, our coaching is not a one-way direction that I tell you and we do, it's working together. And if you also think that's the right thing to do, then I would like to maybe go back to the past where this feeling came up, and when so we understand why and when you acquired this fear or discomfort being around a lot of people, and why you cannot feel safe yet to be around a lot of people. Yeah,
Oh,
does this sound right and
sounds
feel right?
good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you know already, you don't have to do anything special, more just letting go, and you can make yourself very comfortable where you are. And we start by taking a deep inhalation. And you can open your mouth and let everything out with the exhalation. And another deep inhale. And exhale through mouth or nose, whatever you like. And one more time, inhale deeply. And this time, keep the breath in for a moment. And as you exhale, if you feel comfortable, you can slowly close your eyes and feel how your body is now relaxing more and more. And you let go. You continue with a natural, calm breathing in and out through the nose. And every breath takes you even deeper and deeper into a comfortable, relaxed state. And you might still hear some noises around you. And these noises bring you even deeper and deeper into an internal state. You withdraw from the outside world more and more and go into a state of internal awareness. You follow your breath into your body, where you can also feel your heartbeat. And you focus more and more what's going on inside. And by focusing on your inside world, you're in a perfect relaxed state, relaxing more and more. And now, Olivia, I want you to imagine that you can step out of your body and you go on a timeline. And this timeline is in front of you. You step on it and you go on a journey into your past. And you fly along this timeline, back and back and back. Years and years, you fly back, and only you know where you go. You go to a time where you came up with this fear and this feeling of discomfort when you are surrounded by a lot of people in crowded places. And only you and your subconscious know when this feeling came up for the first time. And this is also exactly where you land at this time. And whenever you think you are there, you can just nod a little bit or give me a sign. Yeah, you're there. And there you look down and you see this time, place, and event. And you land there. You look around and see so clearly this scene. There is the reason and the root why you are now uncomfortable being in crowded places. And now there you are, Olivia. What is it that you see there?
I'm in my first year in college. I'm about 20. And we were standing in this very, very long line, and there were a lot of people there waiting to enter the auditorium to hear this speaker speak. Oh, my heart is racing. Heart is racing right now because this speaker was very controversial, and there were some other students that came to protest the speaker. These students were not from our college, they were from a different college. And they came and they were agitating the crowd. And all of a sudden, a group of people just stepped out of the crowd and they started beating these students up. Um, it was horrible.
Before we continue, Olivia, know that you're watching this scene from outside. You're not reliving it, you're watching it. And it recalls some feelings from there, and that's good. But know that you are safe watching this. But you do the work by watching this, and this is uncomfortable, but you are safe right now. And I will reflect back what you told me. What you see in this scene is that you are 20 years old, standing in a line, first year of college, standing in a line with a lot of other people and waiting to get into this auditorium where a speaker was about to speak, but he was very controversial. And a lot of students came to protest against this speaker from other colleges also. And then suddenly the students were starting beating each other. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. And you already said that you, at that time, it remembered you so much that you already now could feel the heartbeat. But remember, you're just rewatching that. What is the Olivia, the 20-year-old Olivia, feeling in that moment when she sees it?
I'm feeling powerless and helpless. I really wanted to stop what was happening. I'm screaming. I'm screaming, stop. Many of us are screaming. And we couldn't stop it. Uh, those of us screaming were all women, and these were men fighting. And I am sensing there's a feeling amongst us that we just don't have the physical strength to stop this mayhem. The other students were just really being pummeled, and we were all fearing that someone may die.
So you felt powerless, helpless. You wanted to stop, but you couldn't. You were screaming, like many other women also. But you all knew that you don't have the physical strength to interfere and to stop this. And what you also said is there was a lot of fear, right?
Yes.
What were you afraid of?
I was afraid I would get hurt. I was afraid that because I was screaming stop, that perhaps I would get attacked as well.
So the fear of getting hurt, the fear of getting attacked as well.
Yes.
What's the main feeling that you feel there right now?
I feel powerless.
Powerless. And where in your body do you feel this feeling of being powerless? And the feeling of fear?
I feel it in my throat, and I also feel it interestingly in my solar plexus.
So you feel this feeling of powerless in your throat and in your solar plexus.
Yes.
And how does this feeling feel physically? What sensation?
The sensation is a tightness. In my throat, it's more of a lump. And in my solar plexus is tightness and like something, it feels like something sharp, like is pushing in it or inward.
So you feel the tightness and the lump in your throat, and tightness and something sharp in your solar plexus.
Yes. Yes.
And I want you now, if you feel okay with that, to bring one hand on your throat and the other hand on your solar plexus. And really allow these feelings to be. And I know, Olivia, that this is not comfortable at all, but we can only heal what we feel. And no, these are just feelings. That's not you. These feelings come and go. And by pushing them down, they cannot leave. But by feeling them, they can. And right now you are feeling them. Just paying attention there, knowing that it's okay to feel that. You're safe to feel these feelings. They are just feelings. You are safe.
I'm feeling, I know I'm here. I know I'm observing. I can still feel my body shaking.
Your body is shaking, and that's also okay. It's not comfortable, but it's okay, and it's normal when we are afraid. And there is something which needs to come out. And this is the physical sensation which accompanies this feeling feeling powerless, this feeling of fear that was there when you were 20 years old, which was trapped ever since in your body, but is now allowed to come out, to be felt and released. And now, Olivia, just by paying this attention to these physical symptoms, to these physical sensations and the emotional feeling, are these feelings and sensations still the same, or did they change?
It's starting to go down. The shaking, I'm only feeling like the shaking maybe in my right arm and hand, but everything else is calming down.
Everything is calming down. Is it still calming down? Is it getting better and better?
Yes.
Good. Then let's stay there until you feel that you felt through it and that it could pass and leave.
Yes.
What do you feel now?
I'm calm.
What do you feel in your throat?
I'm not feeling anything in my throat right now.
And in your solar plexus?
I'm not feeling anything in my solar plexus right now.
And what about your entire body?
I feel an ease.
Okay.
I feel
Calm, you feel ease.
yeah.
And that's amazing. And that's because you were so courageous and brave to go through the pain, to go through these horrible feelings that were trapped within your body for so many years since you were 20 years old. And now, by feeling the feelings, you could release them. And they are gone and out of your body and your system. Whenever you want, you can also release your hands. And just now, having you allowed to feel this feeling, to release these trapped feelings, to be liberated now from them, let's look back as an observer to this scene where you are 20 years old, where you felt this fear, where you felt powerless, where you felt helpless, didn't know what to do. But now you are an adult woman. You are not there anymore. And you see your younger version, 20-year-old Olivia. And what's the difference between you now and her?
The difference is now we have cell phones today. If something like that were to happen, I would call the police. My 20-year-old did not have that at the time.
Yeah, you have more options.
I have more options. And I know as a young adult back then, I I felt more alone than I do now.
How do you feel instead than alone?
I feel I feel safe. I have friends and family, more friends today than I did back then. But I also have more wisdom based on my experiences, um, and a knowing of where I can go, where I know I am safe and I would feel safe.
So you have more options, for example, a cell phone which you didn't have back then, and you also feel now safe. You have friends and family, more friends, where, if I understand this right, you feel supported.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, you feel safe, you feel supported. Also, you have, of course, way more experience, way more wisdom and knowledge than you had back then, because
Yes.
there are years of growth, years of experience and adventures and lessons you couldn't have back then.
Yes.
You're safe, safer than you were before. And now your old self, your past self was watching you and listening to what you said. She knows you. You know her. She sees you. When she sees you being safe, having friends and family around, being supported, having many more options, so much more wisdom, knowledge, experiences, lessons you went through, which made you so much wiser. What does she think about you or say?
Hmm. She thinks that about me now, she thinks that we did good. We turned out okay. Um, and she also says that carrying that those images which have been buried very deep, she's happy that they've been freed, they've been liberated, and no longer trapped in our cells, in our psyche, and she's happy about that.
Beautiful. So she says that you're doing good, you turned out okay, you survived this, you're safe. And she's happy that these images are now out of your system, out of your psyche. You're liberated and free. And I want you now to take her by the hand and to go back on this timeline, and she goes with you if she wants to. And there you go, back to the future on this timeline, along years passing by. And you go to this event where you've been the weekend in a conference together with your past self. And there you land in the middle of the conference. You go down and you look around and you show your past self that you are there in a crowded place surrounded by a lot of people. But you show her that you are safe. that it's good. And why did you go to this conference, Olivia?
Oh, it was a holistic conference that we wanted to enjoy. I wanted to enjoy and learn about different modalities that are being offered to help people. And I met authors.
Yeah. So you went there to enjoy the conference, to learn many different holistic modalities to help people because you are a healer and you loved it. And you went there also to meet interesting people and also to enjoy the time with your dear friend.
Yes,
And did you enjoy the time with your friend?
I did.
Did
Yeah,
you meet interesting people?
I did a lot
And
of.
and did you learn new, exciting modalities to help other people?
I did. Yes, I have cataloged a lot of resources for other people to experience. Yes,
And did you enjoy learning? Did you enjoy being with your friend?
I did. And I wish we had stayed a little longer now, but yes, I learned a lot and I enjoyed every minute that I was there. It would have been nice to have been calmer and have less racing thoughts, but it's okay. I now understand what happened.
And now you, Olivia, looking at this scene where there are a lot of people, it is a crowded place. How do you feel?
In this moment, I feel calm. I feel uplifted. And yeah, just I feel serene right now. Yeah.
Calm, uplifted, serene.
Yes.
And now you show your past self who is with you this scene also where you have been at this conference, how you learned so many beautiful things, how you met so many interesting people, how you enjoyed the time with your friend, and how safe it was to be in a crowd. Is
It's
she
what
saying?
he's saying. Really, it's nice to be in a place where we don't feel the shoe is on the other foot is going to drop and something is going to happen. So
Yeah. So you can be in crowded places and feel safe and enjoy it and learn something.
yes.
Amazing. And you have your past self with you, and she was also watching that you are on conferences where you enjoy to be there because these are interesting people. It's good to be there, it's safe to be there. And whenever you're ready, you too, you and your past self can go again to this timeline. A little short way is still open. And you go whenever you're ready back to the here and now, to the 9th of April. 2024. But your past self is with you. She's safe now. She's upgraded into your world now. And you said already before, there's so many things you know more. You have more options, more wisdom, more knowledge, more support, everything, which you didn't have back then. Even just having a cell phone. And you show her now again everything which is available to you, which wasn't available to her. And you show her how safe you are in your life. Take your time and show her around and show her whatever you want to. And whenever you're ready, after you have taken enough time, you just give me a sign. Yes, did you show her? Yeah, perfect. Now, your old self can stay with you and doesn't have to go back. And I want you to tell her, maybe you want to repeat after me, you are upgraded into my world now.
You're upgraded into my world now.
And here you are, safe.
And here you are, safe.
You're free.
You are free.
You are liberated.
You are liberated.
And you are powerful.
And you are powerful.
And now you can add whatever you want to.
And we'll say again, you are very, very safe.
Yes. Anything else?
No.
Beautiful. And now imagine that you hug your past self and she hugs you. Maybe you want to even take your arms and hug yourself and hug her. And in this hug, you're melting together because she never has to go back to the past. She is upgraded now into your world where she is powerful, safe, free, liberated. She has all the options you have. She's free. She's so, so safe, so loved. And she will stay there forever within you, healed and safe. Now, Olivia, take your time as much as you need, knowing that the past is the past and it's behind you, will never affect you ever again. What is now is the now, and that's the only thing there is. And now you're safe. Now you're free. You liberated yourself from anything which was stuck from the past. You're so powerful. You're supported. You're happy. And you have so much wisdom and knowledge and everything you need within you to be safe, to be happy, to be free, to be you. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Welcome back.
Mm. Mm. Wow, that scene, I've never thought of that. I'd never thought of that in years. Like when it happened, um, that was the first thing that I was shown. I thought that after we talked about the school, I thought that that was actually the scene that was going to come back, and I didn't realize how traumatic that event was. And never talked about it after it happened. So witnessing it, and I was there. It was like I was there, and I was shaky because I was so fearful. Yeah, it's if you've ever been around like adults who get into fights and how brutally violent it can get, it yeah, it that was shocking. And yeah, need to,
And
yeah.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, what you said was also something really important, that you never spoke about it ever since. You never made it a theme, but not
Yeah.
speaking about it, you and I, we know it gets in our throat. Our throat will get blocked. Our throat chakra will get blocked, and everything which has to do with it. And then you felt also around the solar plexus this sharpness, and the solar plexus is the chakra. The solar plexus chakra is the one. It's our powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
if you feel powerless, of course it's going there. And now I would like to just check, when you think about your throat now and your solar plexus, what do you feel there?
I feel more of an openness, and I feel good. I feel good, especially the solar plexus. Actually, I have to say, yeah, especially the solar plexus. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what do you think? How will it be when you think now going into your next conference? What's the difference?
The difference is I didn't even realize that that memory was there so clearly. It was operating, and that gave me the feeling of like wanting to crawl out of my skin. But now I feel that that's not even going to be a thing for me. And so I I know that when I attend my next conference, I'm going to leave because I want to leave, and not because I'm feeling I need to leave, but because I want to. And I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. You did such a great work. And again, you can thank yourself for going there,
Mm.
because I know that's not comfortable.
Self praise. That is so true. I'm so like I'm patting myself on the back. I am proud of myself though in this moment. I have to say, um, yeah, it took some courage, and I'm grateful for myself for even being able to recall that, because that's not, I never thought about that in ever, in forever. After it happened, it was like poof, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is often what happens if an event was too intense. If we cannot deal with it, we push it down. And that's often when we are kids, it's always because we don't have the capacity to deal with it. But even if it's a traumatic experience, when we are adults already, and you were another 20-year-old woman, but it was so traumatic that you didn't know where to go with it, and then what we do is like push it down and then put a lot of things on it to never ever come up again, because I don't want to deal with that. But
Mm-hmm.
what happens with suppressed emotions? They will find their way, and they
Wow.
come in other ways through it, and we will relive this old experience over and over again and bring it into the present, mixing it up and believing that this old scene is again true, until we remove everything which was stuck from this old story. And then we are free to live what's really here and now and don't mix it up anymore.
I love that. Yes, yes. Now I feel free to be able to attend concerts.
Yeah, and this understanding gives you the power back because
Yeah,
now this program is not acting or is not using you and acting over and over again. It's just like you interrupted it. And although you know, well, you're still an empath and you still feel more emotions than people who are not that empathetic. But you know now that you are safe and you liberated yourself from these past fears.
yes, 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 yes.
Amazing.
So thank you so much, Monica. And I'm thanking myself also in this moment for being brave enough to be that vulnerable.
Thank you, Olivia. It was such a pleasure. And yes, I'm very proud also that you now very naturally can thank yourself and be proud of yourself and praise yourself, and for being so open and vulnerable and willing to go the way, even if it's painful. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you next week.
Yes, I can't wait either. Thank you.
Thank you.